Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. It's December 31st, 2020. And as you know, if you're watching this channel, that Ghostbusters 2, the culmination of the movie, is at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. And you may also know that if you start Ghostbusters 2 at 10:24 and 5 seconds, then the stroke of midnight in the movie will coincide with the stroke of midnight in real life. So when the crowd outside the museum starts to sing and Vigo begins to lose power, that will happen in real time at midnight while you're watching the movie. So this is how we've always celebrated New Year's Eve and New Year's Day at our house, at least since the kids have been old enough to kind of enjoy it with me. So I've got my copies of Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 here on Blu-ray. We usually make a double feature out of it. We'll start the first movie at about 8 o'clock. That'll give us plenty of time to go to the bathroom and, get away from having to pay attention to movies instead of watching it for 4 hours straight. So gives us about half an hour between movies. The first movie is 105 minutes long, and the second one is 108, but that really doesn't matter the length of that one. You just need to start it at the right time. So I wanted to show you some of the pictures that we've taken over the last few years of our celebration and our time watching the Ghostbusters movies on New Year's Eve. Over the last few years, while we've watched the movies, we decided to throw in some snack foods that coincide with watching the movie as well. So it started off with kind of the obvious things. We've got some Twinkies, and then there's the part where the Ghostbusters are interviewing Dana, and Egon and Ray are sharing a box of Cheez-Its. So I went to the dollar store and got this box that has bags of Cheez-Its in it. And then we started adding a few more things. You have to have the Crunch Bar. So I got full-size Crunch Bars this year the kids are excited about. We've got marshmallows of a couple of different sizes so we can build our own marshmallow men. And then we started getting a little more creative. Okay, there's the part where the eggs jump out of the shells in Dana's apartment. How do you do that? I mean, it's not that fun to eat fried eggs, at least for kids. So I found a grocery store that already has Easter candy out, believe it or not. So I've got some Reese's peanut butter eggs, some of these Cadbury milk chocolate eggs, and Cadbury cream eggs. So we have some options there. And that's not it. Then there's the part where the Ghostbusters are having the Chinese food right before they get the first call on the We Got One scene. My family doesn't really eat Chinese food, but we did go to Panda Express, and you can buy a box full of fortune cookies. So that counts as Chinese food. So that is how we notate that scene with food. Then when Lewis is having his party and the lady goes up and asks him for some extra strength Tylenol or Excedrin, and then he starts his whole spiel on buying the generic version. Don't want my kids taking medicine, just for silliness of that, but what looks like medicine is Tic Tacs. So give them a couple of Tic Tacs, it's like they're taking the medicine, makes it fun, right? There's 100 different things you could do for Slimer with that scene with the green slime. You can get green Jello. You could get who knows what you'd want to do. But my wife found this little Pop Pez dispenser with Slimer on it. So this year we're just gonna put some Pez in there, and then when the Slimer scene comes up, I'll open it up and have some Pez. And then she also found Ray and slimed Peter as well. So maybe we'll eventually finish that set out. The first movie is so much easier to get the food for. The second movie, not so much. But there is the part where they say it looks like a giant Jello mold. Ray says that, and Winston says he hates Jello, and of course Peter says, "Oh, come on, there's always room for Jello." I didn't get the Jello version; I got the snack pack version. But here's your strawberry Jello to eat that time. The river of slime part, where they first see the river of slime. I got strawberry yogurt drinks with Danimals. So my kids like that. So that's a perfect fit for there. Thought about for the toaster scene, maybe having some toast. We've done that in the past. Maybe even throwing a Pop-Tart in there too. But here's some of your ideas. What are some of the things that you would include in there? Obviously this is for kids, so I thought about doing the candy cigarettes or something like that, but I don't know if I want to glorify smoking even for this. And I don't drink, and so we wouldn't be having Miller Time or things that would seem to fit as well. But to each his own, if that's something you would like to include in yours as well. But I encourage you, if it's just, you don't normally have something that you do for New Year's, then especially this year when there's a lot of people not going out, instead of watching bands you don't know on New Year's Rockin' Eve or whatever it's called, take the time, go ahead and at least watch Ghostbusters 2 and throw in the first one beforehand as well, if that's something you think you'd enjoy, and at least have time for, and make a tradition out of it like we have. At least once a year we sit through both of the movies, whether it's this one day or if we spread it out through maybe a few other times throughout the year, but at least one time a year we're going to watch Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. So hey, one thing I also want to add is I'm at 99 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed and you've enjoyed some of these videos, if you would consider subscribing, put me over the 100 mark before we hit midnight, that would be really cool. And I would appreciate it. It doesn't get me any closer really to being monetized or anything like that, but just to have that round number would be cool. And be nice to have it by the end of the year. Happy New Year. Stay fit, keep sharp, make good decisions.